Good evening. President Bush is safely out of Iraq tonight after a surprise farewell visit that may have had one too many surprises. The trip, shrouded in secrecy and tight security, was billed as a chance for the president to thank the troops and celebrate a new security pact with the Iraqi government. But instead, what everyone seems to be talking about tonight is a bizarre and potentially dangerous incident that happened as the president spoke at a Baghdad news conference. NBC's John Yang has the story.
On President Bush's farewell visit to Iraq, a grave insult in Arab culture, a sign of deep contempt. Mr. Bush and Iraqi Prime Minister Nouri al-Maliki were about to take questions when an Iraqi television reporter hurled a shoe, shouting in Arabic, "This is a gift from the Iraqis. This is a farewell kiss, you dog." Then as he threw the other shoe, "This is from the widows, the orphans, and those who were killed in Iraq." He was dragged from the room. NBC News producer Khazi Balkis was sitting near the reporter.
Everybody was so shocked. I believe even the Secret Service was a bit slower to react than you'd expect because it was so shocking. He had time to pick up his second shoe and throw it.
Mr. Bush was never taken from the room. The White House press secretary Dana Perino was hit in the face with a microphone as security wrestled with the reporter. The president wasn't hurt and kept his cool.
It doesn't bother me.
It may have been his shoe, yeah.
If you want the facts, it's a size 10 shoe that he threw.
Iraqi reporters quickly apologized to Mr. Bush, who called it a sign of Iraq's growing freedom.
It is one way to gain attention. It's like going to a political rally and having people yell at you. It's like driving down the street and have people not gesturing with all 5 fingers.
Later, he reflected on the moment.
It was amusing. I mean, I've seen a lot of weird things during my presidency, and this may rank up there as one of the weirdest.
Mr. Bush arrived for his 4th and final surprise visit to Iraq after sneaking out of the White House Saturday night and flying 10.5 hours. In a sign of improved security, there was an outdoor welcoming ceremony beyond the secure green zone in broad daylight.
And the work hasn't been easy, but it has been necessary for American security, Iraqi hope, and world peace.
After the shoe-throwing incident, Mr. Bush and the Iraqi Prime Minister got down to business, the ceremonial signing of new U.S.-Iraqi security agreements. They call for U.S. combat forces to be out of Iraqi cities no later than next June 30th, and for all U.S. troops to be out of Iraq altogether by the end of 2011.
The war is not over, but with the conclusion of these agreements and the courage of the Iraqi people and the Iraqi troops and American troops and civilian personnel, it is decisively on its way to being won.
Before leaving Iraq, Mr. Bush spoke to hundreds of U.S. troops at Camp Victory.
Thanks to you, the Iraq we stand in tonight is dramatically freer, dramatically safer, and dramatically better than the Iraq we found 8 years ago.
Mr. Bush may have another surprise up his sleeve. As Air Force One left Baghdad, officials wouldn't tell us if he was on his way back here to Washington or to some other destination. Lester?
John Yang tonight, thanks.